that bitch. If you my nigga, then I'm your killer. Nobody gon' play with you when I'm with you. I ain't gon' lie, since you left my side, got more security with you. You my little son, your name at the gate at my estate. If you don't remember, slept on the floor and shared the space where I lay down and play my children. A lot of them bands are playing with me, but I can't lie, say I don't miss you. Knowing that I'm him out the block, deep down inside, I made you receive. Been treated unfair when I went to prison, but I'm prepared to speak on the issue. Unresolved, the family killers, pants, and live from past experience. You painted man to all the fans, a lot of the faces. Listen, Jandy Lucas came to my aid when I got remained with back to police. How did you explain when you and your spouse engaged in illegitimate business? This was all happy when I was on drugs, but I sobered up a penalty. Shit on my name gave me a blemish. Your mother done turned my livers against. I bought her a truck when I was away and can't explain the way I'm feeling. Her and her son jumped my new wife and took a person wanted me. Personal training, back my personal place deep down inside to kill me. Her and this nigga that schemed me out some cake deep down inside to kill me. Criticized when I was statues, I developed some insecurities. Got on that Adderall in the gym 3 times a day, I got skinny. Got on that alcohol, which kinda helped me block out all my symptoms. Nobody noticing when I'm suffering, playing perfect while on him. Trying to tell the world what I'm juggling, left subliminals on Twitter. Vito tried to tell me just focus, hold it together, but I'm saving his brother lied. The money back yo, that's still my brother, but we just dissing. Always love when he be shining, remind me of mine that when he glisten. Boot dirty, kept it playing, we fell out and he forgive me. Curb boy tried to warn me, swear to God, wish I'd have listened. Yeah, Perry, you know I'm sorry, you know I love you, I should've listened. Took the lick, made me feel guilty, I went back and tried to fix it. Still was playing on my little temper, trying to manipulate my lips. I'm in this 70805 where I post up in the trenches on the tank, D'Angelo, Nail, and Tony, don't let nobody kill me. Cold-hearted, Woodland Hill, stuffing that dick and butter pretty. We had a real infatuation with one another, but no commitment. You know I was turned up with the cartel and wasn't agreeing with how I was living. She went made the safer choice and had a baby with her new nigga. Now she say she made a mistake deep down, my heart wasn't really in it. We was laid up, I ain't answer when they hit and lost the shipment. Pour my heart out, I made fly again. You heard me, I'm out the pitch. Stressing about me doing your tension when you knowing it's something miss. Suck it up, put all my energy back in the Eastland and killer. Took the blame in interviews and made it look like I was tripping. Made the drinker song lie to the world while trying to protect her image. Tell me you love me, I say it back of my mind. Now they different, thought just infiltrated to the farm. Hurt my heart, but in my miss. You a man, step out your bedroom, see that stain in your kitchen. Taking pins all your cars and land and go to posting pictures. Told them I don't wanna interfere with her fitness, bitch, I'm different. I'm romantically involved in Virginia, me and Red. Took a shahada, became Muslim, all of the men was in the tears. And shadow a la ilaha illallah, Muslim, I bear witness. On my mind, ain't mean to waste your time, but I'm still on my grit. That other guy could make you happy, cause he could kill what I can't give you. Ruby Rose, I can't wait to have your feet facing my ceiling. With my tongue deep in your ass while I kiss all on your kitty. Put that dick deep in your back and make you come all on this missile. Put your hands behind your back and smack your ass all in your kidneys. Ain't no disrespect to Jigga, mental Nipsey, that's my nigga. Don't know if they in the swing of Beyonce, need to let me hear. Make a piss all on his dick respectfully, her body shiver. I want Nikki, she need Kevin, she still playing around with Kenny. Only ones that shout me out was Ben 10 and Frederick Gibbons. Everybody that come around take my style and try to steal it. Knowing that I make my smile, I don't bow down, I'm rocking good. Neighborhood, you pay 250, they put switches on your head. Free little man, free be stupid, dumb truck and free be killers. Free my Lucha and be Lucas, cornbread and quarter miller. Told them Dolph ain't never dead, I'm in the booth, he right here with me. Disrespect me, I'ma dive off in your dentures like you did it. Sometimes I feel like Kodak Black, I go to call it all my spirits. Then I jump out in all black, my feathers in, I'm representing. I don't do no ultimatums out in court.
Constant reminders of your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis can make it hard to be there when it matters most. If your symptoms aren't under control, it may be time to talk to your doctor about #1 prescribed Entyvio. Entyvio has helped many people achieve long-term relief and remission. Doctors have been
inside a feeling. King of pressure, my old big lake just called it. Blessed me with some slugs. Said I really appreciate his gift. Nothing was ever given. All the money in the world would have never thought he wasn't with me. They threw Wichita between me and Chris Paul. That's how you live. Free of charge, I did a beat for dog that I ain't even mentioned. Hit the internet pretending, trying to fornicate my image. It was full of talking about me. I forgive, but ain't forgetting the people you was gossiping with, trying to get it for the city. I treat your children like my children. I never get you in. All praise be to Allah when everybody went against me. I done came back from the dead and put my team back in position. Cuban kilo, emerald flooded, boy, I'm touching on my vision. I'm not ducking all the balls that bitch are lit. Lamborghini, Renault, no kid, I just ordered it, ain't it? All the focus off of talking, should've caught me in the kitchen. Fuck my bitch, I fuck your bitch, but I don't get off in my feelings. I can only keep it gangster, can't complain, ain't no true.
You've got clearance.
Get my weight up, make them feel it. Pay them back when I get big. She arch her back, I pull her hair, she took that ass up for a nigga. Her booty hole be winking in there, I punch dick inside her kidneys. Hit the dentures, platinum chandelier, my ass is something. Sis ain't big, you push, look like my push, but this the devil.
That's smart. Got the drug law keeping us full. Come on.
West edition. R.I.P. Gangsta Reezy, man.
Okay, get to it. As long as they think you're an inmate in a guard, they shouldn't raise the alarm. I said shouldn't.
Bitch, I'm in New York with it right now. I swear to God. These niggas ain't your friends. Jealous of what you got, but they disguise it with a grin. Count your pockets, documented, watching everything you spend. Envy in their heart, secretly wishing it was them. What you ain't did for them. Same ones that tuck they tail when it's time to get it in. If I tell you that I love you, put my heart on the
Facilities on alert.
stand, your guy. I'm someone you keep it in. Since the age of 13, I've been standing on 14. If we had a disagreement, you still live, I let you live. Told somebody that you checked me, somebody you wanna kill. Word on the top and amputated when I grip the wheel. Name ringing, I done graduated, really in the field. Nothing ever been substantiated.
I collaborate and do a shoot for the pleasure. Just give it.
Bad as I got kids, I want the whole house. We don't speak about it. Junior boy, too late, no backing out with clicks and steel. You ain't got the stomach for it, reach it to me. Give me here, he dying on the inside and ain't no way to get it. Chicks ain't wanna mind, we want to ride with mine, it's not by accident. Boy, it's great, David, take a man to stand over a kid. God forgive me, take a man to stand over a kid. Take a man to stand over a kid. I'm retarded, I'm my mind, I'm trying to shit ain't on me, it's just in me. I can't accept no money from you if we both the same religion. All these years moving time, we just made history in the trenches. Shopping for new clothes, exclusive Louis store outside of Philly. Kicking pressure, my own big lady just called and blessed me with some slugs. Said I really appreciate his gift, nothing was ever given. All the money in the world would've never thought he wouldn't win. They do Wichita between me and Chris Paul, that's how you live. Free of charge, I did a deeper dog that I ain't even mention. Hit the internet pretending, trying to fornicate my image. Niggas still talking about me. I forgive, but ain't forgetting the people you was gossiping with, tried to get you for the city.
Officers driving, transporting, and playing the perimeter team do their job. You'll go in and place a scheduled bus. No one will know the difference. This operation's burnt to attract police attention. So keep your heads down. Got it? Okay, go for it. Coming up on one. Hold it together and hold it in. You got clearance.
Lamborghini Revolvo kitted, I just ordered it, ain't good. The Rory Pump is off a coffee. You should've caught me in the kitchen. Fuck my bitch, I fuck your bitch, but I don't get off in my feelings. Sometimes it hurt to keep it gangster, can't complain, ain't no trouble. I ain't doing no trouble. Get my weight up, make them feel it. Pay them back when I get dead. She on your back, I pull her hair, she took that ass up for a nigga.
Okay, get to it. As long as they think you're an inmate in a guard, they shouldn't raise the alarm. I said shouldn't.
My exercise, this ain't big, your push look like my push.
Experience first class in the second row and third row. Everywhere you go. The 3-row Grand Cherokee. There's only one.
I thought they were sending professionals. I collaborate and nearly get a ship for the pleasure. Just give me...
Bitch, I'm in New York with it right now.
Guys, there are some screws I hope you run in. Let's go!
Kill 'em. These niggas ain't your friends. Jealous of what you got, but they disguise it with a grin. Count your pockets, documented, watching everything you spend. Giving you that secret mission, it was deal. What you ain't did for them. Same so they tell me it's time to get it in. If I tell you that I love you,
Paycheck is in your hands, transporter. Protect West Compton.
I'm someone you put your hands since the age of 13. I've been spamming on 10. If we had a disagreement, exclusive hood store outside of Philly. King of pressure, my own big lake just called it. Blessed me with some smokers. Said I really appreciate his gift. Nothing was ever given. All the money in the world would have never thought he wasn't living. They threw Wichita between me and Chris Paul. That's how you live. Free of charge, I did a beat for dog that I ain't even mentioned. Hit the internet pretending, trying to fornicate my image. They was full of talking about me. I forgive, but ain't forgetting the people you was gossiping. We tried to get me for the sin. I treat your children like my children. I never get you this. All praise be to Allah when everybody went against me. I done came back from the dead and put my team back in position. Cuban kilo, emerald flooded water gushing out my pendant. Breadwinner alumni thugging all the malls and Richard Mille. Lamborghini with Baldo kid and I just ordered it ain't been. The Rory parked this off a coffee. You should've caught me in the kitchen. You fuck my bitch, I fuck your bitch, but I don't get off in my feelings. Time it hurt to keep it gangster, can't complain. Ain't no trip.
I ain't doing no trip.
Get my weight up, make them feel it. Pay them back when I get big. She on your back, I pull her hair, she took that ass up for a nigga. Fuck with the hoe, be winking it down. Punch dick inside her kidneys. Hit the dentures, platinum chandelier, my ex and something serious. Say, think your push look like my push. What's the deal? What's the dish? What's the dish? What's the dish? R.I.P. Gangsta Reason, man. What's the dish?
Valentine. So I was dating.
At Harbor Freight, we do business differently from the other guys.
My name's John Mendoza. I'm a former member of the Nuestra Familia prison gang. I was a Category 3, and I was a regimental commander in different parts of Northern California. And this is how crime works. I've been to San Quentin, Pelican Bay. In the early 90s, they put us out there with Southern Mexicans and the Aryan Brotherhood, the Nazi lowriders. Those were our enemies. They were putting us out there on the yard together, and we were going out there fighting. If, you know, you were crafty enough to bring a weapon out, we'll try to kill each other. I went to prison in 1988 when I was 18 years old. You know, some of my older homeboys that were there in the county jail with me basically told me that, you know, when I get to San Quentin, that the NR is going to approach me about making a commitment. I knew who to look for. The first time I went out to the recreation yard, there was a group of individuals that were in the corner that were covered with tattoos. Those were the NR members. From that point on, they put me on a 90-day probationary period. It's like you're functioning within that movement, but you're not an actual member. You can do anything that they ask you to do. Stabbing somebody, keeping security on somebody, holding paperwork, holding a weapon. A lot of guys that make a commitment because they want the status, they want the title, those guys are going to end up getting weeded out because they're not making the commitment for the right reasons. They're not true believers. I was an NR member for about 5 years, 6 years. People take notice when you're functioning that long and you're not questioning authority, you're developing into a leader. Eventually, the NF is going to approach you because the NR, in essence, is like the NF's training grounds. I think it was 1994, I was approached by 2 high-ranking NF members, Smiley from Salinas and Mike Gill from Salinas. Induction process is similar to the NR. You go through an indoctrination process where you learn some of their concepts, their bylaws. You have a sponsor and you have the guy that actually pulls you. They're responsible for you. When you make a commitment to the NF, it's a lifetime commitment. I was asked things like, are you willing to kill your own flesh and blood? You know, are you willing to put the organization first before everything else in your life? Everything else that you were loyal to becomes secondary. They write everything down. There's 14 bonds, which is, I used to call it like my little toolbox. Everything that I needed to know how to function within that movement. Conduct, discipline. You're encouraged to study things like Middle Eastern philosophy, Socrates, revolutionary literature like George Jackson, Che Guevara. And then there's everything that you need to know about how to make weapons. I can make a stabbing instrument out of 15 pieces of paper. It's all about how you roll it and then how you put the point on. When your membership is sanctioned, there's no big ceremony. They'll get together with you, maybe in a group setting out there on the yard. They'll say something like, today, we're welcoming the brother boxer in. Me, I was right there in San Quentin on the yard, and it was done similar. Hey, this brother's a carnal now. You know, he's a familiano from this point on. He's a member of the mob. It's like I felt like I reached a pinnacle, a point in my career where I had really accomplished something. Everything that I've done, it was all worth it. When a new arrival will come in, we'll get his information, we'll get all his vitals, we'll get his name, his CDC number, we'll get a little bit about his history, we'll get things like his AKA, his age, his neighborhood, what they called him. We'll look on the BNL to make sure he's not on the BNL. So the BNL, the bad news list, is we keep a roster of everybody that's coming in and out of that household. I'll send a filter out to all the members that are in that household, and I'll ask everybody, have you done time with this individual? This guy just drove up, do you know him? Any good or bad information, that'll get filtered out. If nothing comes back, he'll be welcomed into the household. Then at that point, he'll be given a care package, soap, shampoo, coffee, toothpaste, things like that. When you first come in to an ADSEG or even a mainline, they give you what's called a 114 lockup order. That's like your passport. The gangs, they're gonna ask you for that. But the only way you're gonna get a lockup order is if they freely give it up. That's the only way we're gonna get it. It's gonna say on that lockup order, whatever gang that you're affiliated with, it's gonna say things like if you got an S on your jacket, like a sex offense or something, it's gonna say it right there. So somebody like that, you know, you got an S, they probably wouldn't even give up their 114 lockup order because they already know what time it is. If you decline to give up that information, you're done. That's somebody that refused to comply with the program. Somebody like that's not gonna be welcome out to the yard. If he tries to come out to the yard, he'll get hit at the gate. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of perks with becoming a member like that. You're gonna get that rock star status kind of treatment from a lot of the youngsters out there on the streets and in prison. They look up to you. They call NF members just like they call Mexican Mafia members big homies. But you're gonna have a lot of access at money. I've learned a lot of things that I still hold to this day, even though I'm not a part of it no more. You know, things like conducting myself a certain way. The NF is built, it's constructed or built under a paramilitary structure. A lot of the old NF members came from the Marines, they're ex-Marines, so they actually took a lot of the structure of the leadership in the military and brought it to the NF. You have like captains, lieutenants, have leadership potential, and they'll become teachers for the Cat 1s. Now, in order to become a Cat 3, you have the inner council and the general council that basically make the decisions for the entire organization. You have a general for the prisons, you have a general for the streets, and then you have a general it's basically like internal affairs. He handles investigations, internal disputes, things like that. When you're in the chute, you might be in charge of like 200 guys. You're not really running the whole prison. There's guys out there on the main line, regimental commanders out there that are doing that. But on the streets, if you're a regimental commander out there, it might be 20 or 30 guys. I was a regimental commander all over Northern California at different parts. Each time, there was probably around 10 to 20 members that were under me at that time. A day for me, well, it depends. Like San Quentin, you're running H unit in North Block, West Block. I would have to sit there and answer some investigations. So you're getting daily filters or weekly filters from all these different blocks. All day long, I would just be getting inundated with kites. San Quentin is the worst place to be as far as being a leader. The main rivals for the NF are the Mexican Mafia, they're following the Sureños, and then you have the Aryan Brotherhood, and they're following the whites. Out on the main line, it's mixed. Everybody's mixed out there. The Norteños, the Sureños, the blacks, everybody's mixed. If you're talking about in an ADSEG type of environment, a SHU program, everybody's kind of segregated. I spent all the 90s in the SHU program. When you see us out there on the yards and we're doing burpees and we're doing exercises out there, we're not out there doing that because we're just trying to get karate bodies and just trying to look nice, right? We're training for a war. That's what it is. They're getting ready to go to the SHU programs. They're going to be engaged in a conflict. So the SHU program is like a prison inside of a prison. They put you in a cell and you stay in the cell about 23 hours a day. You'll come out of the cell, you know, for a half hour to take a shower, and then you might come out for yard, and you come out to a yard you got 4 concrete walls and a camera. That's all that's out there. You got plexiglass on the top. If you see a bird fly over, you're like, damn, I seen a bird today, man. You go back in there and tell people in the pod. In the SHU program, they got what's called a nerve system. Everything is electric up there in Pelican Bay. They sit up there and they push buttons all day. You know, you got one cop up there that's in charge of 6 different pods. So he might forget somebody's in the shower, or he might forget that a door is open, and he'll press another button and somebody else will come out. You could be in there watching TV or working out 1 minute, and you'll be out on the tier in a fight for your life the next minute. It'll happen just that fast. So us as Norteños, you know, all day our mattresses would be rolled up and we'd be sitting by the door. I mean, I get up and I work out I watch my TV, but for the most part, whenever there was movement or activity on the tier, I would be posted up on my door ready just in case my door would open. Because a lot of times the COs would say it was a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake. You know, they popped certain doors open for different reasons. I used to see them. I used to watch from myself. There's a lot of different places out there on the yards to bury weapons. Inside the buildings, up on the, like in the little rafters, we obviously know where they're at, under sinks or in the walls, buried. They keister it, you know, to move a weapon from one place to another.
Let's get real. It's hard to live up to that mug. Sometimes you don't check the traffic report.
Let's talk salary.
Great. What do you typically offer for this role?
It's competitive.
And if it was a number, it would be...
They'll put it in their anal cavity is how it's moved around. I don't know how you want to put that out there. But... So I went through Corcoran Shoe Wars back in the early 90s. We were going at it with the Mexican Mafia and the Aryan Brotherhood. You know, they knew we were mortal enemies, that we would kill each other if we had a chance. But they would put us out on the yard, and they knew. The administration knew over there, you'd have to have your light on, and that meant that you wanted to go to yard. That remained active, we turn our lights on, and we go out. It's like a little enclosure before you get out to the yard. And the yard's like a little, it's kind of shaped like a piece of pie. When you get in that little enclosure, you can see through the yard door who you're gonna go out there and get off with. So we go out, we fight. Always try to get yourself situated so that they have their back to the gunner, so that you can see what the gunner's doing. Because we were the ones that were getting targeted. It was the Northerners and the blacks that were getting shot and killed over there. There's no warning shots per se, but what they have is they have like it's called a Bertha or a knee knocker. It's like a gas gun that fires little wooden blocks. Sometimes they'll fire once, twice, and then they'll grab the real gun. But yeah, they don't give warning shots. Now the other thing though too is the COs are making bets. They would be like, hey, we got money on you guys, man. You guys better go out there and do your thing, man. A bad taste, you know, for certain individuals, and I didn't even know why I hated them. It was because I was supposed to. That's the mindset that was instilled within me. But being around them, a lot of them were just like us. They were solid dudes. If there's a Sureño and he needs some toothpaste, or we'll pass literature back and forth to each other. We can play chess on the tier. It doesn't do us any good to make that environment any more stressful than what it is. Now, like I said, if the gates open, we were directed to basically torpedo out and engage with whoever was on the tier. If we were going to take off on staff, the guards, our politics might get set aside for a bigger purpose, to where, yeah, we might come together to go against the administration. You might see something like a small uprising within an ADSEG unit or something where we're not getting fed right. They're tearing up our cells and disrespecting, you know, personal possessions like pictures and things like that, where everybody says, you know what, we had enough. Let's just all board up, blocking your windows so that they can't see in there, which basically forces them to have to come in there and cell extract you. It's something that I was personally involved in before in Susanville. You know, when we were going through the Corcoran Shoe Wars, people might debate this, but a lot of the COs were split as far as who they favored in that war. Even some of the female officers, it's just you could tell that they were either sympathizing for the North or they were sympathizing for the South. A lot of it is just geography, where that prison's at, whether or not they got family that are, you know, that might be hooked up. So it just depends. Corruption is rampant in the county jails. I mean, you see a lot of relationships that happen where female officers are getting into relationships with inmates. The next thing you know, they're bringing in drugs. They're not getting that kind of stuff through the visiting. They're getting it through corrupt COs. In prison, one of the things that is a huge problem are the cell phones that are coming in. But it's a huge business for COs. They can make anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 bringing in a phone, a cell phone. Having the phones it's a lot different because, again, when I was in the SHOOT program back in the 90s, you had, when we'd be back there plotting somebody's murder, there was a lot of lag time that was involved. Either it had to go out through a letter, a coded letter, a phone call, or a visit. And, you know, you'd have to wait maybe a week or two for somebody to drive 300-400 miles to come see you up in Pelican Bay. But now you put these cell phones in the hands of these leaders. If somebody's got a green light on them, they'll make a phone call. You'll get a leader that will call a figurehead on the streets, and it will happen in real time. Hey, this dude's got a green light on him. He's got to go. It might happen that same night. Let's say somebody came on the tier, I was on the tier in the AdSeg or something, and he was like 6 cells down. I'd make verbal contact with him. I'd yell down there, hey homie, that just came in. Hey, once you get situated, go ahead and make a line so that, you know, I can get at you. Making a line is where you take the elastic from your boxers or from the strands from your sheet. You'll make a line and you'll tie them together so that you can put a weight at the end of it, and then you'll throw it down the tier. It's just like a way to get back and forth to the cells. So he'll tie the kite on there, and I'll pull it in, and I'll read it, and then I'll respond to it, and he'll pull it back. Ingenuity. There's a lot of different ways to do things like that. Covert communications. There's a language that we use in there. It's called Nahua. It's an Aztec language, and there's different dialects, but we use it so that if we're on a tier and we need to communicate, and there's officers on the tier, we can talk on the tier in front of them, and they're not gonna know what we say. There's very few people that know the whole language. They'll just know certain words like weapon, drugs, CO, hit, green light, things like that. Norteños, our color is red. Sureños, they wear blue. So the NF insignia, the sombrero, obviously, it signifies the Mexican heritage. You got the dagger that signifies that this is a violent organization, and then each drop of blood characterizes its own individual meaning. So one drop of blood is for blood in, guys that have spilled blood coming into the organization, blood out, meaning anybody that tries to walk away from the organization, it's an automatic death sentence. And then the third drop of blood is for members that have honorably spilled blood that have died in the course of their career. I had Nuestra Familia tattooed on the back of my head, and I got that covered up. I had a star on my hairline when I had hair. That signified the NR. I had Familiano over my left eyebrow, being a family member in Spanish. And then I had a tattoo on the back of my forearm. I had an NF back there.
I thought they were sending professionals. I collaborate.
The whole purpose of generating money is supposed to be for the less fortunate members, that are doing life in prison, that don't have a means to take care of themselves. That's what it's supposed to be. It's a smokescreen, though. There's no trickle-down effect. There's a trickle-up effect. The money that comes in, it goes to the leadership, the select few at the top of the hierarchy. And they're the ones that use that money for their own expenses. Some of it's used to invest in drugs and to invest in new regiments or new territory that the breaking the NF ground out there on the streets. If I got a visitor that's willing to bring in drugs, off the top, my gang is gonna require whatever, 25% of it, 50% of it, or I might even have to turn it all over to them, and they'll give me back what they feel that they want to give me. You're part of that gang. You're gonna take care of that gang or that criminal organization. The biggest thing in prison, county jails, the currency in there is soups. Everybody loves soups, top ramens. That's like a prison or jail currency right there. But obviously, then you got weed, tobacco, and the hardcore drugs and things like that. White Lightning, like a cup of that, it can go for like $50. But you're talking about like a cup of something that's like vodka. learned early on from a young gang member that the more violent I was, the more blood that I spilled out there on the streets, the more respect I got. The fastest way to elevate yourself within the organization is by hurting people. So out on the streets, the structure, you know, you have your regimental commander, second in command, your squad leaders, and then your manpower. You know, I would have a second in command, and he would be my buffer. He would collect the money. He would make sure that everybody's following policy, you know, issuing out the drugs, the guns that were coming in off the streets. That was to kind of keep me insulated. In the 90s, when it was a lot different, the regiments were called colonias. Back in those days, everything was compartmentalized. You had a robbery crew, another crew that would sell dope. You had a wrecking crew. I think the influence has waned over the years, like a lot. In the 80s and the 90s, you couldn't testify against the NF and live in the same county. You wouldn't even want to be in California. The threat was very real back in those days. But once the 3-strike law came into effect, we kind of stepped away from the violent crimes and started doing almost exclusively selling drugs. The influence is there. People know that they're out there. They're in the cuts. They're functioning. It's just not it's not like it was.
Furniture history in the making during President's Day at Bob Hill's.
Constant reminders of your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis can make it hard to be there when it matters most. When your favorite Olive Garden dish went away, you had thoughts, lots of thoughts. So, to help solve
I want to say since like 68 is when the NF first came into inception. From that time on, that's when they took a stand against the Mexican Mafia in South Block, San Quentin. This is basically when the NF banded together, decided that they weren't going to be abused by the Mexican Mafia anymore. And from that point on, that's when the war started. So for almost the next 5 decades, that war was in effect. The truce actually started back in the SHOOT program in Pelican Bay. The end of hostilities, their agreement. Again, the whole purpose of it was for a lot of these guys that had been in the SHOOT program for some of them 3 decades, it was to get back out to the main lines and to basically show CDC that they could, you know, live on the same yard without killing each other. So I thought it was a temporary thing. They were gonna get out there, somebody was gonna push a line somewhere, and it was gonna kick off, and then it was just gonna be a domino effect. But it's lasted. I mean, honestly, I never thought in my lifetime that I would ever see a day when Norteños and Sureños would be out there on the same yards, playing basketball with each other, walking laps with each other. But at the same time, there was a lot of house cleaning. Guys that had issues, internal issues within their respective gangs were getting dealt with. Whether it was over misconduct, something came up in their past or something like that, there was a lot of house cleaning. And then there was a lot of guys that didn't agree with the peace treaty. They felt like, you know what, I didn't sign up for this, man. You know, what are we doing? What about all the brothers that have spilled blood in the past? I think the violence is worse. But when they let these guys out of the SHOOT program, all these leaders, guys that are from the 70s, from the 80s when I came to prison, they're starting to bring the old school back, where they're not just poking people and slicing people up no more. You see all the murders that are happening out there. You know, the Mexican Mafia, the NF, they're behind it. They would rather eat their own right now, stab some of their own people. I mean, it's crazy. The politics that are going on right now, everything's going backwards. In 2004, I was arrested in a multi-agency investigation where I was the leader of a street crew, an NF regiment. So I was the main target in that investigation. On the first day, on June 11, 2004, they raided around 8 houses that were all in relation to this investigation. On the first wave, they hit my house where I had all my guns. They hit another house where I had all my money. By 2005, that case continued to snowball. They put me in an observation cell because they said I had too much influence. And during that time, she had lupus. I was trying to do everything I could to make it easy on her. I knew I was in trouble, but I didn't want to tell her because she had lupus, and for somebody like that, stress is a killer. So during the first couple weeks, talking to her and my mom on the phone, I had, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sacrifice your family for once? My mom kept pushing me to cooperate. She kept pushing me to cooperate. You need to cooperate. Do what you do. Your wife's out here dying. What are you gonna do? And I basically started pacifying her, telling her whatever I needed to tell her. Let the case play out. I haven't even been to court yet. So what they do is, understandably, they release my phone calls of how I've been talking to my girl. And all my co-defendants hear these conversations, about cooperating. Trying to explain that to the NF was going to fall on deaf ears because of who I was. I was a leader. I get held to different standards because I know better, and I got no business talking like that. This is 5 years later now. People are still speculating that I'm cooperating. Come on, man, it's 5 years, and there's no police reports, there's nothing. So somebody that had an agenda pushed the issue with leadership up in the Bay. They put a green light on me. Nothing happened. It was literally the dude that tried to, honoring the green light, tried to push a phone over in front of me on the tier. I still held my mud. I still wanted to be a part of the organization. 17 months later, they put me back on the active tier. I functioned for another 2 years, put another green light on me. And the second time it was just as bad as the first time. Somebody wanted to act like they were trying to spear me through the bars. The spear was like 2 feet, too short, didn't have a tip on it. My wife, she died. She ended up dying. My mom ended up dying. She passed away. So they did this at a time when I was already in a dark place. I'm looking at life. I was getting ready to plead out. But then they pulled that, so I was like, you know what? I'm done, man. The district attorney wants to wash me up. I'm in bad standings now with the NF. What do I do? Law enforcement again came up and they're like, you know what? Loyalty only goes so far. Come on, man. I agreed that I was done and that, that I would talk to him. So that's what I did from that point on. I denounced my membership and, I agreed to cooperate. However, the cooperation that I gave was just, I didn't go in as a percipient witness. Everybody that I got arrested with was gone. So I went in there basically talking about what I'm talking about now, how gangs work. The judge struck 2 of my strike priors, which took me out of the 3 strikes and gave me 16 years, 8 months. I've been in the county jail almost 10 years. None of that had to happen. If the NF would have let me fight my case, I would have been a big dummy sitting in Pelican Bay right now with a life sentence. Yeah, I was one of the true believers. But, by them pulling the trigger twice, I felt betrayed. For somebody that just doesn't want to be part of the organization no more, for them to walk away, to just ride off into the sunset and go on about their life and not hurt nobody, it's still not considered honorable, but it's something that people will say, you know what, at least he didn't tell on everybody. At least he didn't hurt nobody. But, there's never a retirement. You'll never be able to walk away in good standings. I've had a couple of situations where I ran into some individuals, when there's 15 of them, that's when everybody wants to get active. But, when I catch cats by themselves, they're not trying to do all that, And I'm not trying to look for trouble either, I'm trying to just live out the rest of my days without all the drama. I'm not gonna spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder. I grew up in San Francisco, California. My mom was a young heroin addict. She got involved with drugs at a young age. At the age of 11, I found my way back to my mom's from foster care. I found out she was using, and she didn't just give it to me. People are gonna be like, what kind of mother gives their 12-year-old child heroin? I understand that, but I don't blame her. I look at it as she was stuck in her addiction at a young age. She got stuck in that cycle, and I kind of manipulated the situation. I told her I knew what she was doing, and if she didn't give it to me, I was gonna go get it in the streets. And from that point on, for the next 40 years, that tore my life up in every way possible. From relationships to the choices I would make, me becoming involved in the criminal element. From then, I stopped going to school. I started drinking. That's when I started getting involved with gangs. This started with burglarizing cars, ripping out the radios, the speakers, selling them for drugs, robberies, home invasions, and then we started using weapons, and it just continued to escalate. From that time, it didn't take me long before I got caught up in the juvenile justice system. I caught 4 robberies, 1 out of San Francisco and 2 out of San Mateo. I took 7 years, ran consecutive, and they sent me to prison. My book is, I've met, through talking to at-risk youth, I've talked to kids that have gotten in trouble. Probation officers come up and tell me that, these youngsters, they read your book, and we actually use your book as like a workshop type of thing. The name of the book is called Nuestra Familia, Broken Paradigm. And so I started doing a YouTube channel, Paradigm Media News. I got a series on my channel. One's called Inner Demons, and the other one's called War Stories. It's also therapeutical to talk about it, to try to help some of these youngsters that might be headed for that type of lifestyle. I give them the fine print that they don't hear about until it's too late, until they make a commitment and they find themselves in that situation. I've seen a lot of my homeboys die throughout the years. Most of them are gone. There's only 3 roads you're going to travel in this lifestyle. You're either going to spend the rest of your life in prison, you're going to die trying to push the organization's advancement forward, or you're going to turn your back. There's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
I wasn't sure Dawson really understood what his future could look like if he keeps idealizing this criminal lifestyle. So I asked, come on out.
How you doing, boss? Good to see you.
Have a seat. Joseph, you've been watching everything, right?
Yes, sir.
And Chris and Dawn here are the parents, as you know. And Dawson here is, he seems to be going to an awful lot of trouble to create this thug persona. He's got pictures of him throwing gang signs and guns in his belt and standing in front of a Porsche. And you've been in the life. What do you say about this?
First of all, it's disrespectful. Very much. You got two loving parents right there, man. So something else is inside you that's pushing you out there. But to be a gang member, to think it's cool, bro? I've been shot 4 times. By the time I was 25, I had 13 years incarcerated. I was first arrested at 9 years old. But when I walked out of my house, it was nothing but homies. When I walked back in my house, my father was a homie when he was not in prison. I thought those were the cards that were dealt to me. To hear you say that's cool, it blows me away, youngster. It breaks my heart. To carry a gun, like what are you gonna do when somebody runs up on you and you got a strap? You're gonna pull the trigger. And then what you can't give that life back, bro. I don't think you're a hard kid. You don't have a heart. You got a heart, bro. There's nothing cool about taking somebody's life. I promise you.
You were in the Dukes at 11 years old, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that someplace he wants to be?
No, sir. Disneyland is a good place to go. The street life, bro, I don't do the scared straight thing because you're gonna be like, that's what they all say. Going to prison sucks. My boys have died in my arms, man. When I look at the videos, you don't look, and this is no disrespect to you as a person, you don't look tough, bro, but I'm not judging a book by its cover. You just gave yourself up on national TV. You're going to jail. I was waiting for the police to come in. So your gang career is out of there. No, it's really gone. It's gone.
Chaz will end up in prison over his 5 felonies. There's tough guy Chaz, who thinks jail is a joke. Then there's the child Chaz, who doesn't understand what jail really is.
Jail doesn't scare me in the slightest. Losing my freedom still. That's time I can't get back. Me personally, I feel like I'll be all right. Half the city locked up right now in the county jail. You say you're gonna send me to prison with my friends that got locked up for doing bad stuff, and you gonna keep me in there with all of them? I'm gonna get out probably 10 times worse. I'm gonna be real with y'all. If I go to prison, you always got that number on your back. That ain't never coming off.
My next guest, Joseph, is a former Los Angeles gang member and says he has a few words for Chaz. I've known Joseph for a good while now, and his son Joey is here with him. And I find that interesting because you're here, your dad's here. Joseph, we've talked about this already, and he's playing it, this life. You've lived this life. What do you want to say to him?
if you choose the blacks, the whites are always gonna hate you. If you choose the whites, the blacks are always gonna hate you. And that may not be in your chest, but it's outside of your realm now, because you're putting. Then you have to do, excuse my language, you have to do things that you may not want to do. You're a good-looking dude. I love women, but you're a good-looking dude. And let me tell you, going to the joint is nothing nice. And you seem like you got a great heart, man. You got some charisma. Like my man's over here said, you got beautiful charisma. And that's with all due respect. And you a track star, bro? Like you 17, you were faced with 5 felonies. You gonna do prison time. I hope you don't, but you're gonna do prison time. But until you find it in you to live for something, your mom, you love your mom. I heard you have a little brother, right?
Of course.
This is my son, 21. I was gone the first almost 6 years of his life, man. He just graduated college, only because he gave me a purpose to live. When I came home from prison, I left them. They wanted to kill me because I betrayed the ones that I loved the most. But I had a purpose now, my son. And it's hard to stand on your own, but it's a beautiful thing when you actually stand on your own and you find that self-worth, because ain't nothing outside can touch you anymore.
Joey, he's turned this around, right? I mean, you've watched it since he's come back and actually made a different path in his life, right?
Oh yeah, like 100%. Just seeing, I mean, I was 5'6" when he got out of jail, so just seeing how he's grown from then to now is amazing. He's a completely different person.
And you're the first in this family line to break the cycle.
Yes.
You didn't go the gang route. You're the first in this family to break that family line.
But you can do that. All this hustle, the game, put that in the bars, bro. You teach him that. Your little brother looking up to you like an idol, bro. You God to him.
Oh, no, and that's why I don't let nothing.
But let me tell you, he's gonna be like, gone, like faster than the police too. You don't want your little mans to do that, right?
Of course not.
No. So you gotta be that little brother, man. You gotta be that big brother and love him, bro. Because you can do that. I promise you.
On top of the world, me and my clique. Got it out the mud, now we all lit. It's how it feel to be rich, back in pocket. The feelings I can hear the money calling. Me and my friends.
I wasn't sure.
I feel that Chaz will end up in prison over his father.
Our lives are being turned upside down by our 15-year-old son, Dawson.
Dawson has gone from a preppy-style child, wearing boots, shoes, preppy clothes, and now he's trying to be gangster. Dawson is dangerous, and he's completely out of control. Soon after we moved, Dawson started hanging around with, to say the least, the wrong crowd. If you ask me, it's a bunch of thugs.
Dawson will get an attitude and call me his bra, and I'm his mother. He started getting into trouble. Dawson was caught distributing pot at school. He was expelled.
Dawson and his friends were caught giving pills to a girl at a local skating rink. The next thing I knew, the police were at our front door bringing Dawson home that night. I was furious. Dawson's become really fascinated with guns.
When you look at his social media page, it's full of him with guns and drugs. Now Dawson's been running away. Just a few weeks ago, Dawson disappeared. We contacted the police.
The local news even ran stories to be on the lookout for him.
Berkeley County deputies need your help to find a 15-year-old runaway. The sheriff's office says Dawson was last seen Monday morning.
After 6 days, the police did find Dawson.
Dawson refused to come back home with us. Dawson said he wanted to stay with his dad's sister, his Aunt Abby.
He was at my sister's house for 4 days, and he took her van and took off. He picked up a 13-year-old girlfriend. He was driving 110 miles an hour down the road and posting it to social media. We were able to track him down.
Now Dawson is back home. Our house is basically turned into a prison.
Dawson's staying in the house pretty much 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We've added extra security sensors and cameras. We're just watching his every move.
We even purchased cuffs to keep him in the house. We haven't used them yet. Now when I look at my son Dawson, I just don't know what to think. I'm afraid he's lost.
My biggest fear is he's going to end up in jail or end up dead.
Okay, guys, can we just jump right in here?
Yes, sir.
We're talking about your son.
Absolutely.
Robin and I raised 2 boys, so I relate to these boys and all the things that they can get into and all the temptations that are out there for them. Are you truly surprised? Did this just come out of the blue?
I I'm very surprised. Dawson has always been, he's always been on the mischievous side, but it did seem like as soon as we moved, the legal stuff started happening. I had no idea he was interested in any criminal activities.
How old was he when you moved?
13.
Yeah, because this was his life, right? I mean, he looks like a happy kid. He's hanging out, he's playing in the snow, fishing, turtles, big smile, puppies. I mean, this is what you want, right?
And then he enjoyed every bit of it. He was always social, ran around our neighborhood, played with all the children.
Then you guys moved.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, and concurrent with the move, soon after we start to see pictures like this.
Correct. These all came to light in the last month and a half, where when he ran away the first time and we really started digging and trying to find him, talking with any friends he'd communicated with, he actually started talking with his aunt. So we were able to get some of these images, and it was shock. It was.
Why were you getting from him? Were you not following him on his social media platforms?
Not on the Snapchat.
He has fake names. We don't know the names of it, so he changes his name into these strange names so he doesn't allow us to be. My husband's not on social media, and I'm only on Facebook.
Okay, let's start making a list. That's your first mistake, okay?
Correct.
You need to be tracking this boy everywhere he goes. Seemed like everybody else knew a lot about this because he's created this whole persona out there.
Panera's packed with flavor bagel just got stacked with even more for just $7.99. Meet our new Asiago Bagel Stacks. Choose from the chicken Roma with grilled chicken and green goddess dressing, the spicy steak or zesty Tuscan. Only $7.99 each and only at Panera for a limited time.
When Gabe got cancer, our entire lives turned upside down. Now we have to save him from this gang lifestyle that he's trying to lead.
Stop calling the cops on me.
You don't expect me to call the police when you're running away, stealing guns. I sometimes feel that when he went through his treatment, the chemo took a piece of his soul. It was like a switch flipped. He was angry, became very aggressive, verbally, physically. He was not himself. At 10 years old, he was definitely starting to hang out with the homies, the thugs. At age 12, Gabe broke into an elementary school and vandalized it. He served 2 weeks in juvenile hall, but he was placed on probation until the age of 15. At age 13, he had tried cocaine, and I heard that he was also popping Xanax. Last year, Gabriel came storming through the door. He was covered in blood. I thought his nose was broken.
We robbed the wrong person who was a homie. We stole guns from him, okay? On accident.
He said that he had broken into a house and stole some firearms. The gang members beat the crap out of him. My husband Jason and I fight and disagree on how to parent Gabe. I'm the stable one in the relationship. I attend most of all the court dates, the probation meetings, school meetings. I feel like Jason contributes very little energy to the family. Things have been pretty rocky over the last few years between Jason and I.
What exactly it is you think I need to change?
I kind of feel like it's the Jason show. You know, like you're just kind of self-absorbed. Like I feel like I'm talking to the wall every time I come home. I'm hoping coming here we can get some help to communicate better so that we can be better parents for Gabe. We need answers, we need solutions, we need a way to try to save Gabe because we just don't know what to do with them.
Well, Sharon's best friend, Rosalie, says Gabe's illness is not to blame for his behavior. She says it's his parents.
I absolutely believe Sharon and Jason parent out of guilt. I feel like Gabe is at the point of no return.
Why is somebody trying to see you? Because we're in the streets, bro. What do you mean you're in the streets? You're not. Where I live at. In the streets. All right, I don't give a bro. I'm in the streets.
I asked Gabe if he was in a gang, and he advised me that he actually is now currently active. When Gabe misbehaves, they make excuses and blame the cancer and all of the treatment that he went under. They allow him to get away with murder. Gabe is causing more conflict between Jason and Sharon, and their relationship has always been a struggle. They haven't shown their children what a healthy, loving relationship actually is. It's no wonder why Gabe is looking for the attention from his homies, because he probably feels like he's not getting it at home.
Who's responsible for you? Us. Probation, it's over for you. What I did? You?
What?
We're already hitting the probation. I want to get my son on probation.
because I needed some kind of support. People can't just go around doing whatever they want.
Sharon and Jason are constantly yelling at each other. They're just so disconnected and don't really even like each other. Jason makes it really hard for Sharon to parent. Sharon will try to set down the law for Gabe. Jason comes in and changes the law that she just laid down. Sharon also does drink to tune out Jason when he is home and what he's doing to make her feel bad. I do believe that Jason is completely checked out of this marriage. If Sharon and Jason don't get their life together, I don't understand how they expect Gabriel to get his life together.
Okay. Thank you both for being here. Rosalie, you have a different perspective on this than you do. You have a different perspective on it than his father does. So we got a lot of different points of view here. But the one thing we agree about is that this young man's in trouble.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think he is ganged up at this point?
I'm not sure. You know, he says he's active, you know, but then he says, no, I'm not trying to join the gang. So that's why some of them are coming after them because, you know, he's presenting himself like he's in the gang. He's hanging out with the kids in the gang, but, you know, he said he hasn't been jumped into it yet. We can't get a real answer. Yeah.
And you wanted to talk without Jason out here to begin with, his father out here to begin with. Why?
I'm just intimidated by him. You know, he kind of rides over me, and I tend to shut down when he starts talking. He doesn't let me have a voice.
Well, I want to introduce Gabe to Joseph Lucero, who you've all met already today. He's a former Los Angeles gang member. He spent half of his life in the first 25 years in the penitentiary. I'm concerned about his future, if he has one. What do you think?
Gabe, you a miracle, bro. You weren't supposed to come this far. There's a lot of pain in that chest, bro. Probably a lot of questions. Why me? Why didn't I die? Why am I still here? Why am I alive? Why the hell did I have to get cancer? Why the hell did I have to go to juvenile hall all the time? You alright? Yeah. But from today forward, it doesn't have to be like that. Your homies can still be your bros. As I said, that love is real. But you gotta do something for you. Gabe's gotta live now. What do you love to do? Sports, music, anything?
I like music.
You love music.
Like
you write bars?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got 16 on me right now? Give me 16.
Spent 2 years in and out locked in. Kept coming back, still on that probation. I be trying to stay out, trying to do my own but you already know, lil' homie be struggling, been sent to place, man. Got me up. All I was thinking is I'ma keep my head up. Shout out to my fam, shout out to my brothers, shout out to all those other homies being in struggles. I'm just kicking back, I ain't really doing stuck in this building, locked down in this bitch. When I was locked up, I was
You guys, I got goosebumps. You just told me a story. That is success. That is you. That is you channeling what you're going through. Everybody in the crowd, what do they do? What'd you guys do?
Oh, chill out.
That's a good feeling, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
To get your ass on the wall, put your hands behind the back. It's better than that, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's love, bro. That's acceptance. That's what we all want.
You got to take him out of this situation, because if you don't, he's going to die. He's been shot at 3 times. That's 3 times too many.
From survivor.
At 16 months old, he battled stage 4 cancer.
To street thug.
The first time I got locked up in juvie, it was cool. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be here with my homies.
What exactly happened here?
I got smacked up.
You said that you were stealing some guns from the wrong person.
We are all scared for his life.
Will he accept his family's help?
We're leaving right now. Can I ask you for information?
I'm not leaving, bro.
All new Dr. Phil.
Gabe's attitude makes things very stressful for us. What do you think your definition of the word punk is?
What are you trying to tell me, man?
Gabe is a big boy. Gabe is going to do what Gabe wants to do. It doesn't mean I don't care about him. I had trouble in high school with drugs and alcohol. I was on probation. I went to juvenile hall. I understand the world Gabe's in, and I know it's not too late for him. Sharon and I are not on the same page when it comes to parenting. Sharon has a tendency to make it about her. 90% of our conversations has me saying, Sharon, this isn't about you. Try to see it from Gabe's point of view. If I say this, she's going to get mad and storm off. It gets to the point where it's like, why am I bothering with this conversation? I'm looking for something that I don't know.
I talk to you and I say, did you hear me? Did you hear me?
So I get frustrated. We argue more. Nothing gets resolved. Gabriel ends up basically winning the situation, and now there's like total tension. I'm not a cop cruising the beat trying to bust Gabe. He knows we don't want him smoking pot. He knows we don't want him drinking alcohol or breaking the law. Unfortunately, Sharon is going to make him not break the rules. If I even try to point out something from an outside perspective, she'll think that I'm coming down on her and I'm on Gabe's side and it's the whole world against Sharon. Sharon has always been a drinker. I'm going to tell you straight up. I do while she was trying to discipline or reprimand Gabe that she sounded tipsy, and I'm like, when you sound tipsy, he's not listening to you. That's when she feels like she has the courage to speak her mind. Unfortunately, it's kind of a rambling. I am of the firm belief that me and Sharon have to be on the same page for any of this to work with Gabe, because he will play us against each other. So if we're not on the same page, I do not see this working for Gabe, and I'm in fear that Gabe is going to end up shot or in prison.
Tell me what you mean by being on the same page.
I'm of the belief, and it's not that I let Gabe do what he wants to do. Gabe is going to do what he wants to do. So when I say us being on the same page, Sharon doesn't seem to think that she doesn't realize that yelling at him or in his face, it doesn't work.
But you're saying you need to be on the same page. You mean your page?
No, we could be on, okay. Talk about us being on the same page. I mean communicating with each other, because she'll start to reprimand it, and if I even am like, calm down, then she instantly thinks and I can understand where you get the idea of what you think about her. I mean, there's definitely some things I would like. First of all, okay, when it comes to being in the hospital, she might have been in the hospital with him 60 to 65% of the time. I was there the other 35 to 45% of the time. This is when you started drinking. Think about you opening a grape juice can so you could be constantly drinking wine in the hospital with our son.
When my girlfriends came to make me feel better and do my hair, and like, you know, it was a very stressful situation. Our kid was dying.
So
like, give me a break, really?
Okay, so again, if we can't be honest with each other about stuff like this, then I really
Have you ever locked up your pot? I see you talking about her alcohol, but what part of this are you going to take responsibility for?
Okay, when it comes to responsibility,
you were smoking pot the other night with your kid, last night.
You were smoking pot with my kid too, Rosalie.
Not Gabriel. Not Gabriel.
Okay, you know
I've never smoked pot with Gabriel. Jadian's 21.
Okay, so you guys want to lie and make me look like a bad guy? That's fine.
I'm here to be honest.
I'm not a perfect person, Dr. Phil. No dishes. Okay, hold on. And I can understand why you'd see that. You've heard nothing but these guys' point of view.
No, I'm wanting to hear your point of view, but what I hear you saying is you have abdicated your role as a parent.
That's not
You're saying
true.
There's a 15-year-old kid and he's going to do what he's going to do. There's nothing we can do about it. How is that not abdicating your role as a father?
The only control that we have over Gabriel is limiting the carrot. That's it.
What are you willing to do?
I'm willing to do whatever.
I'm asking all of you. What are you willing to do?
Whatever it takes. Anything to save our son.
How old was he when you moved?
13.
Yeah, because this was his life, right? I mean, you know, he looks like a happy.
Called me his bra, and I'm his mother. And I'm his mother. He started getting into trouble. Dawson was caught distributing pot at school. He was expelled.
Dawson and his friends were caught giving pills to a girl at the local skating rink. Next thing I knew, the police were at our front door bringing Dawson